Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Adult Chair on RashPixel.fm. I'm Pete Wright, and I am thrilled to be here with Michelle Chalfant right over there. Hello, Michelle.
Hi, Pete. Way over there.
Way over there. We're talking about kids today.
We are.
We're talking about kids. We're talking about how to dominate them, how to, as parents, always make sure you have a boot on their neck and make sure they're leashed and trussed and that they have no free will at all. Am I doing something? Am I doing it okay?
I think it's more like the opposite, but yes.
Allow my life to serve as a warning for others. That's what I always say. Before we get started, head over to theadultchair.com. Learn more about this show. You can subscribe for free, obviously, over right at the mailing list. You know what else? You can download the ebook for free right there. You can download The Adult Chair, Living the Adult Chair. It's a great book. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to, if you're listening to the show and you feel like, what is this adult chair stuff? That's where you need to start. This is a primer on the adult chair. It'll get you right up to speed. You'll learn all the language that we use, and you'll be able to interact and participate even better in the discussion. So definitely do that. You can join the conversation on Facebook or Twitter. Don't forget the private Facebook group. That is a great place to go when you need to be vulnerable, when you need to learn from people who are also on this journey. We would love to hear from you there. All those things are available right on the website at michellechalfant.com. Thank you so much for your participation. Did I miss anything, Michelle?
No, I think that you just covered everything.
All right. Well, then let's talk about kids. So the whole concept here that we are talking about here, that you were inspired to talk about today, is around guiding versus controlling our kids. Talk about that.
Yeah. You know, I'm parents often ask me while we're in session, how do I raise my kids using this adult chair model? I want to be the best adult, the most healthiest adult for my children. How do I model that? And that is when I realized, it's about guiding versus controlling. And in the last few months, again, I've just had kind of the same kind of question. My son's trying out for this sport and my husband wanted him to play that, or my son's really into art and my husband wanted him to play baseball or football or whatever it is. And my husband doesn't know how to interact with my son now because he's mad at him. It's all of that. So what I believe is that when we're born, I believe we have a soul that comes in and it's kind of pre-programmed not to play a specific sport, but to accomplish various things in our lives or in each lifetime, or in our lifetime, I should say. As parents, what we want to do is really see our children as cars going down a one-lane expressway when they're really little and they're just born. And we serve as guardrails. So those kids need us constantly. They need us to feed them, change them, help keep them safe, all of these things when they're really small. And then as they grow up, what happens is they start, how do I say this? Expanding their lanes on the expressway. So then they go from a one-lane expressway to a two-lane expressway. So they get to now have the experience of driving on two lanes versus one, and so on and so forth. So by the time that they're teenagers, for me, what I've understood, I had a teacher say this to me years ago. By the time your kid is 13, when your kid hits age 13, really, your job is done. You taught them everything you can possibly teach them. Now the job is to keep them alive until they make it out of the house when they're 18 or 19, right? So if we're looking at the analogy of the expressway again, so when they're born, they're one lane. When they're toddlers, they're two lanes, and it just keeps expanding out. And we are the guardrails. It doesn't mean we have the steering wheel of our kids' cars. We are the guardrails. So we want them to mess up a little bit, but we want to be there for them to keep them safe. So by the time that they're 13, they probably have something like a 4-lane expressway. By the time they're 18, they've got 10 lanes. So I find this issue oftentimes with, again, not only smaller kids that might want to play piano and the dad wants them, again, to be in football, but as they get older, it's harder because these teenagers of ours are wanting to go out and do things maybe that the parents feel unsafe about or scared about or they don't agree with. And it's so amazing to me to watch when parents loosen or let go of the control. I'm not saying don't boundary your kids. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying don't be so controlling. Don't ask a bazillion questions they don't want to tell us. And this is part of the growing up. This is part of what's happening.
I think it's actually, I think it's really interesting because the metaphor works on a number of different levels, and it's one that I really enjoy. You and I have talked about this in the past, and I think there's another piece of it. Like right now, my major highway, my major thoroughfare, right by my house is under construction, and they're adding a lane. And that feels very much like what I'm going through with my own kids right now, right? They're about to finish some major milestones in school, and they're moving on to new grades and new schools and things like that. And it feels so much like under construction. That's what my head feels like right now. Like I'm not sure how to approach them, not sure how sensitive I need to be when they come home from school at the end of the day. What kind of, how do I need to, we had this great conversation with Michelle Eichardt about how, about dealing with teenage kids and how we need to be aloof. If we want to get more out of them, we need to be treat them like they're cats, which I adore. Like it's this sense of approach, like we're under construction too as parents, and so what I always come back to, and what this metaphor keeps leading to, if I want success in approaching my own kids, I have to remember that a guardrail is a position of love. And if I can keep approaching them from a position of love, I will have more success in relating to them, in guiding them, in helping them make the right decisions. The thing I keep coming back to in this discussion around kids and the adult chair, particularly teenagers, there is, at what point do you start encouraging them or understanding their transition from being an actual adolescent to being somebody who is feeling more and more comfortable in the adult chair, or guiding them in terms of sort of relating to adult chair concepts, even though they're actually making the chronological journey from adolescent to adult? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Because of the prefrontal cortex, they can't exactly be adults or sit in their adult chair until they're at least 25. So what we can do for our children and for our teens is to set an example and model for them, how do we live in this adult chair? And for people that don't know this, the adult chair, when we're sitting in our adult, we live in the moment. This is a big one. We respond versus react. We are reacting when we're in that adolescent chair ego place. We are living with fact and truth versus story and assumption. So when I think about parents, because I talk to a lot of parents and they get so reactive with their kids. And if we can learn how to respond, that's huge. It's huge for kids to experience that. So we're teaching kids by being the best adults that we can be for them. So here's a really, really, really important point, is that kids want to feel seen and heard. It's our job as parents to validate kids for who they are, not for who we think they should be. That's huge. Mm. I work with clients that are adults that are 50, 60 years old plus that come in, and we are working on the shame that they did receive from their mother, father when they were growing up, because they wanted to be a teacher. I can think of one man in my mind right now. He really, really wanted to be a teacher. And his dad said no. There were like 3 or 4 boys in the family, and the dad said, "No, we're accountants. You're going to be an accountant. You'll never make any money as a teacher. You're going to be an accountant." So this guy went on, and he really wanted to be a teacher. Dad said, "No, I'm not going to pay for college unless you're a teacher, unless you're an accountant." So he became an accountant and didn't like it, and has spent his whole life doing a job that he didn't like doing. So now he's with me, 30 years later, saying, "I just have this sadness, this depression. I just don't know where it came from." And when we found out, it came from the fact that he's been doing a job all these years he doesn't even like. And he really, really, really loves kids and wanted to be a teacher. So let's avoid that as parents. And we may not like what our kids are coming home telling us, and that's okay. It's their journey. I say this all the time. We see the quote, "Life is a journey." It really is for every single person on the planet. We as parents lovingly put these guardrails up and allow our kids to be whomever that they want to be. They're pre-programmed to have various experiences in their lives, to be, I don't know what my son is going to do, but let me tell you, when he was my older son, who's now a freshman in college, I thought, oh God, I don't know if he's going to make it in college. He could not get out of bed his senior year. I'm too sick to go to school. And here I am thinking, if you miss more than 6 days, you're going to have to take finals. So in other words, if he only missed 6 days, then he could miss and skip all final exams. I was like, oh my God, how amazing. I couldn't do that when I was in high school. I was so excited. Well, guess what? He's now on day 8. I am so stressed out because my kid's missing more than 6 days. And then it dawned on me, why am I more invested in him skipping finals and being able to waive final exams than he is? Like, this is what I'm talking about. It's a great learning. I was getting mad at him. You're not sick. Get up and go to school. You're fine. Well, I just really wanted to go golfing with so-and-so today. I'm just going to stay home. No, you're not. We get in fight after fight. Anyway, what I realized is I wanted it more than he did. And I thought, how in the heck is this kid going to ever make it to college, through college, without me getting his butt out of bed every day? Anyway, fast forward, he had to take all of his finals. And most kids that are seniors knew this 6-day thing. And most kids, of course, did not have to take finals. But here's my son with a group of other kids, and he said, I wish I had only missed 6 days. And I thought, well, there's a learning opportunity, and I didn't shame him, although I wanted to be like, I told you so, but I didn't do that. I was like, okay, well, all right. So you got to take finals. And he did. Yeah. Well, this kid, and I realized that was a big awakening for me to just really let go even more. Like, I think I had him on a 6-lane expressway and he wanted 10. So I at that point, I said, I'm done. Like, this is his life. If he goes and works at a restaurant, or he goes to the 2-year college here that's local, or he goes to a 4-year college, it's his choice. Like, it's his life now. He's 18. So I just let go. And the more I let go, this was wild, and it's terrifying for parents. The more I let go, the more he became his true self. He went to college.
You're under construction too.
Exactly. This kid goes to college, and I thought, oh my God, he's going to go. He's going to fail out. I don't know how he's going to get through. The kid is like on the honor roll. He's on the honor roll. He just said the other day, I said, are you going to come home? His girlfriend is a senior year. And I said, are you going to come home on Thursday or Friday for prom? And he said, well, I've only missed 2 classes all semester, so I don't want to miss another class. So I'm going to I'll go to the class and then I'll get a ride home. And I thought, who is this kid? Goodness. So anyway, I really didn't know what was going to happen. And I had to get okay with that. So as parents, it's our work to get okay with what our kids are doing. And they're what we would call mistakes and screw ups. We got to let it go. Kids want to feel validation for who they are, not criticism. And as parents, I hear it all the time with friends, with family, with clients, whatever. We shame our kids. Like, why didn't you do that? You should. The moment we use the word should, there's so much shame in that word. It's like, stop using that word. Use the word could. You could have done that. But it's like, let them mess up. I hear stories again about this all the time, where these kids that are not allowed to do anything, they're basically on a 2-lane expressway when they're, in high school. Their parents are so, they are in control of these kids' lives. They go to college, they go off the deep end. They're drinking like crazy. They're doing drugs. They're failing out. They don't go to class. It's like crazy. Let them mess up. I say that all the time. Not that I'm saying, hey, go out and give your kids a 12-pack of beer. I'm not saying that, but let them go and be with their friends and do their thing with boundaries at home. They still need boundaries. My kids always knew this is what is acceptable at home and this is what's not. Do not drink in my house until you're 21. That's just not okay. Now, what they do when they go out and they do their thing, they know never, ever, ever drink and drive. I always say, you have Uber, I will pay for it. I won't even ask questions. Just don't ever get in the car with anybody that's been drinking or drugging. Don't ever do that. They know this. I've drilled it in their heads. But if they do take an Uber home, I don't then say, where were you and who was drinking? I don't do that. I just say, thank you. Thank you for taking an Uber. That was responsible. So I'm validating that they were being responsible. So I just see this with parents. Let go of the reins. Let the kids be whoever they are here to be.
it's fascinating kind of being, I'm personally in that sort of bifurcated state because I have a one in high school and one who's, moving into middle school. And I am super torn right now, trying to let one go and absolutely trying not to let the other one go. And I'm feeling deeply under construction right now. I think, I think this is a very timely topic for me as we kick in and move toward, I can't believe it, wrapping up spring already.
Well, here's another big point I want to share. This is a biggie. It's reflective listening. If you want your kid to open up, this works. I swear this works. Use reflective listening with your kid. Like, I have 2 boys. Now, boys speak 3 times less than girls, and that goes on our whole lives. So men or women speak 3 times as much as men do. So with girls, we like to talk. My boys were never huge talkers. Some boys are, but mine just were not. But when there's a window of opportunity, whether you have a girl or a boy, and they share something with you, because they actually, I think, would like to talk and they want to be validated for what they're doing. So sometimes I'll get like a one-liner. It's like fishing. They're throwing something out, and how I hit that line will determine if they're going to talk to me. And I can stretch out conversations with my boys now for a much longer time than in the past, because I've started doing reflective listening. So reflective listening is when they say, okay, perfect example. My son this past weekend came home. He went to a sleepover, came home the next day, and I said, oh, how was your night? And he says, we were going to go to this kid's house or this party, but it got broken up by the police. Now, here's reflective listening. This is what I said. I said, oh, interesting. It got broken up by the police. Now, mind you, my monotone, I wasn't like, what? It got broken up by the police. That was not what I said. I said, interesting. This is adult chair language. When we're in our adult, here's how we respond. We respond with, wow, interesting. One word. And then we add a little statement behind it. So I go, it got broken up by the police. Interesting. That's how I said it. And then boom, I hooked him, and he goes, yeah, can you believe it? The police came, so-and-so had a party. It was out in this field. 15 kids were invited and some girls, and it turned into this huge party. And of course it does. I mean, with social media and Snapchat, hello, you have a party in the field. Yeah. Like, you're going to have like 5,000 people there. So that's kind of what happened. So he said, yeah, so-and-so had a party and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, yeah, I said, oh, so the police came. Yeah. I said, so what else happened? And I was very monotone. Oh, well, blah, blah, so-and-so got arrested. Can you believe it? I couldn't believe that he was saying this to me. And I said, wow, arrested. That's all I said. And he said, yeah, can you believe it? Yeah, so-and-so thought, I think there were drugs in his car and blah, 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 blah. This is a kid that I know. And I said, wow, that's it. Wow. I said, well, no, I did make one little mistake. I said, because there was a judgment here a little bit. I said, thank God you weren't there. And then I said, shit. Why did I say that? Because what happened was the party got busted up before he and his 5 friends were on their way. They were going, and then it got busted up. And I said, oh shit, why did I say that? And then he clammed up right away. He clammed up. I go, you see, the reflective listening really does work. Yeah, right. And because that was a judgment. That was me being a mom. He doesn't want a mom. He doesn't want a parent. No. He wants someone he wants to be seen and heard by people that love him. They do want boundaries, even though they push against them. But so I said, so it was a good thing that I kind of did a little correction. I said, well, it was a good thing you guys didn't make it. With the police being there and all. He goes, yeah, I know. Wasn't that great? And I said, yeah. So that's how you take whatever the kid says, and then you just go, and then you add on a little statement. You just mirroring what they have just said is fabulous. It really, 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 really works.
Can I tell you, you ever watch Modern Family?
Yes, I love that show.
Okay, one of my very favorite shows. I turn into Phil. Generally, if my wife is around in these scenarios, when something happens, let's just replay that. Oh yeah, then the police broke it up. If my wife is in the room, I am incapable of behaving like a rational parent. And the first thing I say is, the police, oh man, what were they doing? That's awesome. Everybody okay? But seriously, tell me, was the police? You got busted by the police? You are a rock star. I'm an idiot. I know that immediately. So I have to make sure, if she's not there, then I get to assume the role. But my instinct is really quite adolescent.
That's hysterical.
Anyway, let's wrap it up with that. I think this was a fantastic conversation. I'm so glad you brought it up. Very timely for me, obviously, to reflect on these. I hope timely for others. Thank you, everybody, for downloading and listening to the show. Don't forget, it helps others discover the show. If you're getting any bit of light out of our conversations at all, we'd sure appreciate you to head over to iTunes and leave us those kind 5-star reviews. They certainly help others to discover the show when they need a little bit of support. So thank you, everybody. Until next time, on behalf of Michelle Chalfant, I'm Pete Wright, and we'll see you next week right here, sitting in the adult chair.